Today, we are cracking the code of our modern world. We're going to use the ideas of one of today's most challenging thinkers to unlock the hidden rules of power that are all around us.
I mean, you're not alone if you feel that way. There's this sense that behind the scenes, a totally different set of rules is running the show. Rules that affect our laws, our rights, and even our lives. So the big question is, how do we even begin to understand what's going on?
Well, there's a philosopher, Agamben, and he offers a really powerful set of keys to this whole puzzle. The only catch? His work, it can feel like you're trying to read some super encrypted file, but you don't have the password. It's tough stuff.
And that's where we come in. In the next few minutes, we're going to break down Agamben's core ideas and give you a new lens to see the hidden logic behind modern power. So, think of Agamben like a code breaker, but for our reality. He's not just looking at the laws written down on paper. No, he's digging deeper. He's looking at the source code running underneath it all, that fundamental logic that really dictates how power works today.
Okay, so let's get into his first and maybe most critical set of concepts. This is where things get really interesting, because he reveals how power can operate outside the very rules it's supposed to follow.
Right at the heart of Agamben's thinking is this idea called the state of exception. What is that? Well, it's basically a legal gray zone. Think of things like emergency powers, or martial law, or those special security degrees. It's when the government just suspends the normal rules, all in the name of protecting the rules. It's a total paradox, right? Lawlessness becomes a legal tool. And here's the kicker. This is the absolute core of his argument. He says that what was once supposed to be a temporary, rare, emergency thing has now become the permanent way that modern states govern. The exception isn't exceptional anymore. It's just business as usual. So, what happens to us, to people, when we're inside this state of exception? Well, we risk being reduced to something he calls bare life. And that's a scary thought. It's human life, but stripped of all its political and legal rights, just exposed directly to the raw power of the state. It's life that can be taken away without any real legal consequence.
And for Agamben, this is the defining feature of our time. He argues that modern politics, at its core, has become all about one thing: managing, controlling, and administering the simple biological existence of its people.
Let's break that down a bit more, because it's super important. He makes this really key distinction. On one hand, you've got bios. That's our political life, being a citizen with a voice, with rights, with a story. But on the other hand, there's zoe, and that's just the simple biological fact that you are alive. The big danger he's pointing to is that power can just strip away our bios, leaving only our zoe, just a body to be managed and controlled. And where does this logic lead? For Agamben, the ultimate terrifying example of this is what he calls the camp. Now, he's not just talking about historical horrors, though that's part of it. He sees the camp as the model, a paradigm for any modern political space, anywhere, really, where the law is just completely suspended and people are reduced to that bare life we just talked about.
Wow, okay, that all sounds incredibly bleak, right? But hang on. Agamben isn't just about pointing out the problems. He also gives us some really powerful ideas for how we can push back, how we can resist this logic, and reclaim a totally different way of living. His first big tool for resistance is an idea called profanation. So what does that mean? It's the act of taking something that power has grabbed, controlled, and set apart as sacred, and this could be anything, a law, a piece of technology, even a word, and then just returning it to us, to the community for our own free and common use.
Basically, profanation is like deactivating the weapons of power. It's about taking the master's tools, and instead of building his house, we use them for our own projects. It neutralizes their authority over us.
And all of this leads to his ultimate goal, which he calls a form of life. Remember that split between zoe, bare life, and bios, political life? Well, a form of life is where they become one and the same. It's a way of living that's so whole, so integrated, that power just can't find a crack to get in and separate the biological body from the political person. It's a life that, just by being lived, is political. It's inherently meaningful. And because of that, it's inherently resistant to being pushed down into mere bare life. It's about living as a complete, indivisible person.
Okay, so let's just pause for a second. We've just covered some massive ideas, right? The state of exception, bare life, profanation, form of life. But listen, these aren't just abstract philosophical concepts. They are literally tools. Tools that can completely change the way you see everything around you.
But that's the real challenge, isn't it? How do you make this stuff practical? How do you take this really complex, dense philosophical language and turn it into a lens that you can actually use day to day to make sense of the world? Well, that is the exact problem that the Agamben Dictionary was created to solve. It's designed to be your map, your key, the thing that finally makes all these profound but difficult ideas accessible and crystal clear.
And I mean, just look at the sheer scope of what this thing covers. We've barely scratched the surface here today. This dictionary breaks down over 100 of Agamben's key terms, everything from apparatus and biopolitics to homo sacer. It gives you the complete toolkit to really get a handle on his thought.
And what's great is that it's designed for practical, real-world use. So next time you see something in the news or even something in your own life that just feels weird, like it's operating by some hidden logic, you can just grab the dictionary and look up the term. You get a super clear definition, plus key quotes from Agamben himself so you can see exactly how he uses the idea. It's like having a direct line into his brain.
So, your guide to this hidden reality is right there, waiting for you. If you want to start decoding the world with these powerful ideas, we've put the purchase link for the Agamben Dictionary right there for you in the description below.
All right, let's bring this all home. Getting a handle on Agamben, it's not just some academic exercise for a philosophy class. It's really about gaining a new, much sharper vision of the world we live in every single day. It gives you the words, the language, for things you've probably already felt, but maybe couldn't quite put your finger on. So that leaves us with one final, really big question. Once you can see the hidden code, once you can spot the states of exception and see how bare life is being produced all around you, what are you going to do with that knowledge? What will you choose to change?